we look at the clock, and we are 2-0 up. We are 11 against 10. All rational analysis says, okay, you're going to win this one 99.999999 times out of 100. But even then, your mind's just, messing with you. We set up in a 3-5-2 with David Ryan goal. Then we had Ethan Pinnock, Pontus Jansson, and Henrik Dalsgaard in the back three. Then we had Sergi Canas as a wing back, Mads Rorslev as a wing back, and then we had Matthijs Jensen as an 8, Emiliano Marcondes as an 8, and Vitaly Janelt as a 6 in a 3-man midfield. And then we had Brian Mbeumo and Ivan Toney on top. We set up this way because that was the system. I actually changed it during the season because we played 4-3-3. I think 36 games or something like that. But then we got some injuries to our fullbacks, and we didn't have the same attacking threat with the backup fullbacks. So we tried, but it didn't work. And then we found out this system, we can actually still play, how can I say, that expansive kind of football where we try to dominate on the ball and try to be very aggressive in the pressure. So we got the right types in the dangerous situations. So for example, Sergi Canas as a wing back was just a bigger threat. Then suddenly here with Mads Rorslev, there was a right back now. He was a little bit more licensed to go. We had 2 strikers that were close to each other that could just create trouble. And then actually with our other fullback, Henrik Dalsgaard, just played that outside centre back. That helped us a lot in terms of both on the ball, but also in the way we pressed. The Swansea team, we were a little bit in doubt because they have played a 3-5-2 throughout the season. Then they changed also towards the ends to a back 4, like more 4-3-3. But for the final, I think mainly, I don't know, of course, but I think they tried to match us up because of our wing backs. So that's always the trouble if you play with a back 4, to cover enough with when you're defending and you don't want your wingers too low. So that could be the problem. So that's why he played Connor Roberts as a wing back, I think. So they could still be a little bit advanced going forward, but he could follow Sergi Canas all the way down. So the main bit we were worried about were Ayew. We knew his experience and his just, good striker. Low for the counter-attacking. And then in midfield, Grimes and Hurricane, very good on the ball. And Hurricane especially, in terms of his final passing and his finishing outside the box. But for me, it was more their shape, because where could we potentially hurt them? So what we did and what we knew was that if our fullbacks went high on the last line, I'm very, very big on working that last line. That means that we had a 3v2 situations when we built it up. And we knew that Ayew and Lowe were okay pressing players, but not the best from my perspective. That means they will have time and space on the ball, our back 3. Plus that, then we make sure that we had Vitaly dropping down, so because they wanted to man mark a bit, to take our midfielders out. But what we did was we had them a little bit closer, and then we tried to get, especially Matthijs Jensen, all the way out here to the side, or Emiliano, and that's a long way. It's a little bit unnatural to get all the way out here, and that creates channels and space for Ivan, Toney, and Brian Mbeumo to come into. And, if they're this much out, the 8s in this situation, Matthijs Jensen or Emiliano Marcondes, normally opponents are waiting a bit. So they got a safe pass, good opportunities to get the ball under control, combining through the middle, or these balls behind where we could hurt their back 3, back 5. So that was a big part of the tactical in the build-up, the calmness, finding the passes, especially to the 8s that was dropping to the side. So, for example, Emiliano dropping to this side, very important. Then we have Matthijs Jensen coming in and joining for the combination on the other side, so we're not spread too much. And one of the reason for this was actually that I think, remember the first goal, we had this Emiliano Marcondes dropping to the side, then we get Sergi Canas in here, who can drive it in, and then he slid Brian Mbeumo in where we got the penalty. So that was one of the big reason for us, what we will try to create. On the defensive side of the game, or the approach to the game, were that we wanted to press and aggressive as high as possible throughout the game. So, for example, when they set up for goal kick, we don't want to let them get started. A combination of they are pretty good at it, but also I think goal kicks is one of the best situations to start a high press. So if teams want to play out, I think it's set. Everyone is set. It's very difficult to play out. You know the distances are good. So we always try that to press high in these situations. We also knew if they wanted to go long in the open shape, our 3 centre-backs were much stronger than their 2 strikers. So that's also a calculated risk. I think even if they're strong, we'll still do it. And then we have a combination of as soon as it goes, we cut it one side. So we are a combination of a little bit without, if he stands there, yeah, okay, we're aware of him. We don't have to get all the way out here. But just a tiny bit man-orientated, still a little bit in between the players. But especially when they go in this side, then we like to go and cut it one side. And then if we could create these man situations, and then we always 3v2 at the back, that'll be a top scenario. So that's what we tried the most of the times. Can also be sometimes that the 2 strikers up here, the left-sided 8 is releasing early. We are shuffling across in these situations because then we still cut it one side. So a lot of times when we go high, we like to go early. We like to press towards the ball, and we like to create a man-man situation because that's very difficult to get out of the pressure. Plus, when we then now we also have a little overload because our wingback will get in, so we still have +1 in these situations. So that's some of the principles we are working with. When we are lower, we still want it as quickly as possible to press high, and we knew that, of course, it's clearly wingback for wingback in these scenarios. And of course, now we also have an issue because we play 2 versus 3, just like Swansea did. But we really try to cut so the outside striker can go here. We can go here to cut it one side in these situations. But of course, if they overload the sides, it can be a problem for us. But that's why we are more calm. We try to force them then to a side, shuffle across to this side, shuffle across to this side. And that's still where we still create an overload and have that. And a big philosophy is our 3 midfielders are very good runners and want them to play football, but they also need to be good runners because I think big part of the modern game is that you need to be able to press. And a lot of the most successful teams, they have, high numbers of these high intense actions on and off the ball that you constantly can go and go more towards the ball. The 2-0 goal, of course, we celebrated very much because it means so much. And Brian Reimer, my assistant, was even more happy because we had a situation where we had, I'll just put everyone in the box. It's after a long throw to Swansea. To be fair, I can't remember how many they had back, but it's actually not that important. So they have a long throw out here, try to throw it in the box. We have Brian Mbeumo here for the short one. If it plays short, of course, you need to defend. But when they throw it long, he just goes. So we gambled a little bit there. And we had Ivan Toney opposite. And that means when we won that ball and we could clear it, we had a clear situation where Brian just could drive the ball all the way up here. And then we had some willing runners. So it's actually our right wing back, Mads Roslev, who was running all the way around for a 2v1 situation. We had Ivan going in the box, and then a long run from Emiliano Marcondes. And then after that 2v1 situation on the side, he waited, simple pass, and 2-0. And that was, the offensive version of defending a long throw. After we went up 2-0, I said to myself, have we done it? Are we there? And, of course, there's 70 minutes to go, but we started well. And you need to control emotions, you need to stay in the game, and these things. I would say in the halftime, we said that we knew that potentially they could change something over time. They changed it to a back four, and then they got the red card. But in general, our approach didn't change. It was the same. They still wanted to press as high as possible, because I think the more we can defend away from our own goal, the better in these situations. And I also think that front-footed mindset is just a more positive mindset throughout a game, instead of protect something. Then you always try to achieve something, winning the ball higher. Of course, it's not possible all the time. On the ball, the more we could keep it, the more we can create better chances, the better possibility we'll have to win the game. The red card made it very difficult for Swansea. And that's where you're plus one. Then it was even more important for me that we pressed high, so they never had time to feel that they just had a sniff to come back in the game. So that was a big thing for us. Standing there, I'm standing there next to Brian Reamer, and we look at the clock, and we're 2-0 up. We're 11 against 10. All rational analysis says, okay, you're going to win this one 99.999999 times out of 100. But even then, your mind's just, messing with you. So we stand there with 3 minutes to go, and we're on the ball, and we say, are we there? Are we there? Looking at each other and said, no, we can't. We need to stay focused. And then when the final whistle came, we just hugged each other and other staff members, and I had tears in my eyes, very, very emotional, because it's been some fantastic years, but very tough years, and you work so hard and so committed together with a lot of lovely people that, going in the same direction and achieving that unbelievable goal it is to get promoted to the Premier League, especially for a club like us, is fantastic. So it's all kind of emotions: relief, pride, I don't know, happiness, all kind of emotions in the most purest form of joy.